Apostasy of Judah, Jeremiah chapter 10. Let's take chapter 10, which is titled Idolatry Brings Destruction. Hear the word that Yahweh speaks to you, O Israel. This is what Yah says. Do not act like the other nations who try to read their future in the stars. Do not be afraid of their predictions, even though other nations are terrified by them. Their ways are futile and foolish. They cut down a tree, and a craftsman carves an idol. They decorate it with gold and silver, and then fasten it securely with hammer and nails so it won't fall over. Their gods, almighty ones, are like helpless scarecrows in a cucumber field. They cannot speak, and they need to be carried because they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of such mighty ones, for they can neither harm you nor do you any good. Yahweh, there is no one like you, for you are great and your name is full of power. Who would not fear you, O King of nations? That title belongs to you alone. The title King of nations belongs to Yahweh. He did mention that it is title, and that title belongs to Yahweh alone. He is the King of kings, King of nations. He alone should answer that or bear that title. Among all the wise people of the earth and in all the kingdoms of the world, there is no one like you. People who worship idols are stupid and foolish. The things they worship are made of wood. You see, here you have two deities. Yahweh, the King of nations. Yahweh, the creator of all that is called this earth, that is in the earth, the maker of all. He is only one that anyone can worship. The other is what is depicted as idols. And we are told that this idol is Baal, the Lord, and which is commonly worshipped across the world, all over the world today. And he told us that the author of this deity called gods is using an image, using symbol. They are into wood. At times they use stone. So here Yahweh is like presenting the two. Are we going to follow Yahweh or follow the idols made of wood? Verse 9, they bring beaten sheets of silver from Tarshish. That is how they make what they worship. Yahweh is trying to describe it here now. And gold from Uphaz. And they give these materials to skillful craftsmen who make their idols. Then they dress these idols in royal blue and purple robes made by expert tailors. But Yahweh is the only true Yahweh. He is the living Yahweh and the everlasting King. The whole world, or the whole earth trembles at his anger. The nations cannot stand up to his wrath. Say this to those who worship other gods. Your so-called gods, who did not make the heavens and earth, will vanish from the earth and from under the heavens. But Yahweh made the earth by his power, and he preserves it by his wisdom. With his own understanding, he stretches out the heavens. When he speaks in the thunder, the heavens roar with rain. He causes the clouds to rise over the earth. He sends the lightning with the rain and releases the wind from his storehouses. The whole human race is foolish and has no knowledge. The craftsmen are disgraced by the idols they make, for they for their carefully shaped works are a fraud. These idols have no breath or power. Idols are worthless. They are ridiculous lies. On the day of reckoning, they will all be destroyed. But Yahweh of Israel is no idol. He is creator of everything that exists, including Israel, his own special possession. Yahweh of heavens, is his name. Now, we see here clear comparison between Yahweh and the idols or Baal, the Lord, which people of the world worship. Why would people choose the so-called gods and worship them? Yahweh said they did not make heavens and earth. They didn't. And they will vanish from the earth and from under the heavens. Clearly, Yahweh's prediction here will come to pass. It has started, it will continue, and in the latter days, which we already are, Yahweh is going to clearly destroy every idol wherever they exist. And what is the idol? Yahweh says is wood, is stone. Do they have breath? No. Do they have eyes? No. But human beings, literally on their own, cut wood, carve it, put eyes, put ears, put nose, mouth-like, and everything that they put to make it look as if those are human or real, or make them look like creatures, as if they can harm, as if they can destroy, as if they have power. But so there is nothing inside them. Then why is it that people love these so-called idols and look at them as something that seems to be powerful, very strong, and people follow them? The answer is simple. Satan is that God. Satan is that idol that imputes powers, infuse powers, uses those images, uses those objects, plant his demons, his spirits, and uses them to do what they do. At times, the so-called prophets, false teachers, false pastors, hide behind all those by the act of their master, Satan, that tells them that all those things have power. So they apply them to everything that they do in their liturgy, in their theology, in their worship, in their service, and they are convinced that there is power in them. So they apply themselves to it. They bow themselves to those woods and stone, not knowing that what is happening to them is the act of Satan using all those things that appear to have power to destroy them. We see this clearly, or we read this clearly in book of Revelation, chapter 13, where we are told that the beast that come out from the sea, eventually was given power, was given authority, to do all that he was doing. And we are told that that power came from Satan. Satan was the author, the owner of the power that was given to the beast. So most times we see Satan working directly using all those objects to work with, either inanimate objects or human objects. So human beings are also applied and can be used to deceive others as if they have power. In these latter days, Satan may leave those wood and stone, though he will use them still, but he will raise human beings, so much so that he will impute powers in them and cause them to speak as if they have all the powers, as if they are Messiah of human beings, and people will follow them, people will worship them. Our fathers of old were deceived through objects, inanimate objects. They worshipped wood and stone. In these latter days, Satan will appear real through human nature, through human beings, and he will speak through the voices of human beings. The Bible told us about the false prophet that is coming up. The Bible told us about the first ruler, who is called the man of the sin, or the man of sin. He is going to come with all the powers of Satan. That is what Revelation chapter 13, warned us about. That those who worship him eventually end up serving Satan, worshiping Satan, bowing to Satan. And Revelation chapter 14, Yeshua clearly told us how this worship will happen. From verses 6 to 11, we are told who to worship. We are told to worship Yahweh, who created heaven and earth, as we see in Genesis chapter 3. Now, Genesis chapter 2, we are told that Yahweh rested there, and that is after he had created everything he made. He rested on the seventh day, and he gave that seventh day as a commandment that all will worship him on that particular day. Everybody, all over the world. Yeshua identified that in the book of Luke chapter, I think that is Luke chapter 2, 22, 20, 27 to 28. Can I be very sure? Can somebody confirm that? Luke, can somebody get me that? Yeshua confirmed that the Sabbath was created or made for man to worship Yahweh. Let's get it confirmed. So it is for everybody. Mark chapter 2, 27 to 28. Yes, it's Mark. Sorry, it's not Luke. If you are there, read it for me. If you get it, read it for me. Mark chapter 2. Yes, it is Mark. Are we there?
And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not for man for Sabbath.
He said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for Sabbath.
28. Therefore, the Son of Man is the master also of the Sabbath.
Therefore, the Son of Man is the master. That is also referring to what is said in Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, and also referring to Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 8, where he called everybody to who to worship, to Yahweh, to worship Yahweh. And Revelation 14 is speaking about Sabbath, the appointed day of Yahweh, who he called everybody to worship. So Yeshua was, clearly identifying and directing us what we must do. The day we worship, who we worship. The Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people and not people to meet the requirements of the Sabbath. This is New Living Translation. So the Son of Man is master even over the Sabbath. So who is the owner? Who is the author? Who is the creator of Sabbath? The maker of Sabbath is the master. Here, this master refers to Yeshua. And we know that in the context of the Old Testament, it was written as Yahweh. Yeshua bear the name of the Father in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, we hear he himself said, "Call me master." Matthew chapter 23. He said, "You should call me master." And our Father in heaven should be called Father. That is title. Father and the Master. They are titles. So he didn't hide what he is trying to disclose in Jeremiah. He clearly told us who to worship, who to serve, where our loyalty, where our reverence will be directed to the one that created heaven and earth. The other one that did not create heaven and earth, that uses the gods through woods and stone, should not be bowed to. Revelation 14 says, if one does that in these latter days and worship his image, the person will be destroyed with fire, with brimstone. So we are told exactly that if we deviate from Yahweh, if we go outside Yahweh to bow to anything, then the person will end up in fire. The person will be burnt. The person will be destroyed. So whether it's Old Testament or New Testament, the consequence is clear. There are many, many ways to deviate. There are many, many ways through which people worship idol, wood and stone, the Lord, or Baal. Satan has all these identified titles to confuse people. In the modern, particularly in Christendom, it is Jesus. Because we are told in Deuteronomy 32, 16 and 17, he told them in the wilderness that in the latter days, Israel, you are going to be sacked from your land. In fact, all the way from Deuteronomy chapter 4, he was telling them, said, heaven and earth, bear me witness about my people. These people will not serve me. These people will not live in the land because they're going to corrupt themselves. They're going to serve idol, wood, and stone. And he is going to scatter them, he is going to throw them into the Gentile world. There they will worship wood and stone. The idols that their fathers never served, the idols that come newly. That is Deuteronomy chapter 32. He told them there that idol, that idol will acquire new name. And they said the idol come newly, and they worshipped. So we see that Israelites all over the world who did not continue with the way of Yahweh, worshipped idol, continued to worship the idol they were worshiping in the land of Israel before they were sacked, before they were exiled or scattered all over the world. Then, towards the later days of Israelites in their Gentile environment, they acquired or they inherited the new gods, which amongst them is Christianity. In Christianity, their God is Jesus. Islam have their own, Judaism also, bent in their own, Hindu, and so on and so forth. And when you look at all of them, they are all fashioned under religion. They are ruled, controlled, administered, and taught under religious creed. And they have followed the principle of religion till today. So Yahweh did not mince words by telling us exactly how Israelites will fall. They fell as soon as they left wilderness, entered into the land of Canaan that later became Israel. After the exit of the early leaders like Joshua, Caleb, now Yahweh began to appoint judges for them, seers, prophets, teachers, pastors. But to no avail, he had to sack them, kill as many he will kill, scatter the remnants. And today, I and you understands that Israel are still dwelling in worship of wood and stone in the Gentile world. Because the Gentile world is clear. There are only two deities. In fact, it's only Yahweh that must be worshipped. That is the creator of heaven and earth. The other one is a deceiver who came from Adam, deceived humanity, and made himself look as if he is Yahweh. And he called himself God, the prince of this world. And ever since he's been answering that name, the Lord. And he uses all these images to deceive people. I have to stress all this because that is what the scripture has been stressing from Genesis through all the prophets down to the book of Revelation. That's all we are studying. That's all we are looking at. The main problem of Israel had been worship. What they worship. Do they worship the living Yahweh? The king of the earth? Or they worship the one that claims to be the king of the earth, but he's not. The creator of the earth, but he's not. Who uses wood and stone? Who uses images, objects? And Yahweh gave it as a command. It's one of the commandments. In fact, first commandment, second commandment, even the third commandment, in fourth commandment as well. You find such there. Who to worship? Only Yahweh. And you must know his name. Otherwise, you'll be defiling, profaning, making vain his name as written in the third commandment. Thou shalt not make or take his name in vain. People had done that by following the deities of the world, the gods of the world, the idols of the world, the lords of the world. At the end of the day, that is what people have, pushed themselves without making inquiry, without diligently searching from the scriptures where they had fallen. He said, if we will diligently search for him in these latter days, we are going to be recovered. We are going to find him. We are going to, receive him. And it's all about being diligent. It's all about being careful to listen to what he's saying. All right, we continue. Chapter 10, verse 17. Jeremiah 10, 17. Pack your bags and prepare to leave. The siege is about to begin. Now, that is the invasion of Jerusalem. the tribe of Judah was promised that if they will continue to worship wood and stone, which they insisted, then they're going to be scattered abroad. And that was named as Babylon, and wherever they will end up, in their journey. For this is what Yahweh says: suddenly I will fling out all you who live in this land. I will pour great troubles upon you, and at last you will feel my anger. My wound is severe, and my grief is great. My sickness is incurable, but I must bear it. My home is gone, and no one is left to help me rebuild it. My children have been taken away, and I will never see them again. Here, Jerusalem was like crying like a man who is bereaved, who has been, whisked away with all he had, including his children. So we see here Jerusalem mourning for its desolation. My children have been taken away, and I will never see them again. The shepherds of my people have lost their senses. They no longer seek wisdom from Yahweh. Therefore, they fall completely, and their flocks are scattered. Listen, hear the terrifying roar of great armies of Babylon. As they roll down from the north, the towns of Judah will be destroyed and become a hunt for jackals. Now Jeremiah had to pray. Prayer of Jeremiah begins here, verse 23. I know, Yahweh, that our lives are not our own. We are not able to plan our own course. So correct me, Yahweh, but please be gentle. Do not correct me in anger, for I would die. Pour out your wrath on the nations that refuse to acknowledge you, on the peoples that do not call upon your name. What is Jeremiah saying here in this prayer? Jeremiah is pleading, Yahweh, correct me. Well, should apply to all Judah, all Israelites. Yahweh would correct, because if Yahweh is correcting us via his anger, we will all perish, we will all die. But he's asking and pleading Yahweh to correct us, through his love, so that we will not be destroyed. And he's talking about nations, any nation. There is no nation in this world that will escape the judgment of Yahweh. Because once somebody goes away, walk away, live contrary to the will of Yahweh, the way of Yahweh, the person will pay the price. And the price will be the wrath of Yahweh that will be unleashed. And the end result will be destruction, death. So here, Jeremiah seemed to be telling Yahweh, to nations that do not keep your commandments, nations that do not love you, will perish. Here we are people of covenant. We are people that love Yahweh. Then you look at the issue that is at stake here. The nation of Judah has been identified as going away, walking away, living in line with nations of the world that worship idol, that serve Baal. So what will happen to them? They'll be destroyed. So was Jeremiah also praying that Judah should be destroyed? Let's hear him the more. Now the issue is that those nations or people will perish because they do not call upon the name of Yahweh. You see, worship of anything, either call it idol, deity, gods, wood and stone, Baal, the Lord, whatever it is that, or whatever title anybody gives to whatever he is worshiping, if it's not that one name, Yahweh, the person is facing the wrath of Yahweh. And that is why In Proverbs chapter 30, verse 4, he said, do you know my name? Do you know my son's name? Can you tell? What he's asking us is that we should search out, verify from the scriptures, verify through history who he is. Romans chapter 9, in fact, beginning from Romans chapter, I think 3, verse 2, he said the oracle was given to Israel. And in Romans chapter 9, verse 4, he was clear that they were given the covenant. That was the oracle being explicitly mentioned. He explicitly mentioned that the oracle given to them was the law, the commandments, the covenant, and all Yahweh's instructions, all the laws they needed. And the beginning of the law is the name of Yahweh, directing them who they will serve, who they will worship. So anyone that will not diligently search, find out this name, will get it wrong, will worship something else. At the end of the day, the person will derail, and the person will serve deity that is not Yahweh. So that is why in that verse 25, Jeremiah pointed to the people who they must call. If they don't call his name, Yahweh, they are going to be in trouble. For they have devoured your people, Israel. They have devoured and consumed them, making the land a desolate wilderness. Now, here is a general or kind of a broad prophecy. Israelites had been under attack right from time. Whether it's the 10th tribe or the tribe of Judah, all of them had been under attack right from time. And the cause is obvious. The cause is serving another name, worshiping another, called God or the Lord, the Baal of this world. So throughout history, we see that Israelites have been pursued, attacked, killed, maimed. The suffering of Israel, wherever they find themselves all over the world, is as a result of worshiping another. That has been the problem. That has been the issue. That has been the trouble. I don't know whether anybody has any contribution here, from what Jeremiah has said before we move to the next chapter. Anything to add? Anything to contribute or to share in it?
Yeah, I've got something to say.
Yes.
If we go back into the beginning, what you're saying about idol worship, and we've just gone through the what they call Christmas.
Okay.
When we go back to the beginning of Jeremiah 10, and where can I find? Oh yeah, their ways are futile and foolish. They cut down a tree, and the craftsman carves an idol. They decorate it with gold and silver and then fasten it securely with hammer and nails so it won't fall over. That is the Christmas tree.
Of course.
That is the Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
That is, it reads the Christmas tree to me. And that is the false decoration that we've got at the moment for a false God.
We are even going to read this somewhere as we move on in Jeremiah. Yeah. Jeremiah, in 3 places, identify this tree, cutting of tree and decorating it.
Yeah.
And clearly it's talking about the image. I don't know whether it's chapter 7. We read about it, where the family,
yeah,
the man, the woman, the children, they go out, one, kind of divided assignments. Each one had something to do. They put all the wood they collected, put fire, the wood becoming the source of the fire, and they need their dough. And before you know it, food for the festival was done. Yeah. And they were enjoying themselves. It was Jeremiah that reported it. So it's all about these festivities they do.
And it's the idol worship that was then is still continuing today in more or less the same way.
Nothing has changed. It's only the methodology.
Yeah, yeah.
It had remained the same. The
Yeah.
object remained the same. The mastermind remained the same. Satan, the trickster, the deceiver, remained the same.
Yeah.
But the method, they call it modernization, the fashioning of all those had kind of changed. If you look at the wood, the stone that Satan is using, the object he is using, you find out that the Christmas tree is being decorated with so much. Today you see electricity. They will put light and all those ornaments and so on, pass it through it, and you see it glittering.
Yeah.
Shining. I mean, you can never fathom in any way that is what Yahweh is referring to.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, and with regards to Christmas tree, it's all the depictions of the false gods of Europe. Another thing that you said as well, and I agree entirely with you, is the end times. The great emphasis is going to go on Jesus, the name Jesus, and the false prophet is going to come in and announce that Jesus is going to return. But we've got to remember as well that in what name was the law ended? Jesus. In what name was the Sabbath ended? Jesus. In what name was the feast days ended? Jesus. In what names was image worshipped? Jesus. Who is in the hearts of the people now? Jesus. So how easy is that going to be to sell when the enemy comes? It's going to be an easy one to sell, isn't it?
Exactly. You are very, very, you are 100% correct. And I know that Satan has been manipulating human affairs.
Yeah.
He can swing to another name.
Yeah.
No doubt, whether that comes, whether they remain as Jesus or what we should watch out. But the scripture is telling us that whoever that is coming is going to bear his name.
Yeah.
So that is what Yeshua identified to us. I think it's John chapter 5 verse 43. He said he is going to bear he's going to come in his own name.
Yeah, yeah.
And him people will receive.
And that's exactly what it says, doesn't it? In I think it's in Matthew, but it says that I will come, and you won't know me by my name. Use the name of the enemy that you'll recognize.
Matthew 24 verse 4. He said, be warned, take heed, lest anyone deceive you. Then in verse 5, he was telling us about many of the messiahs.
Yeah.
They will come in their name.
Yeah.
That is title. That is title. Making reference to what he said in John chapter 5 verse 43.
Yeah.
So that one that is going to come in his own name is going to come with that name, his title, is going to come with John 5 specifically said he's going to come with something like name. It's going to be a name. But it's not name per se, because there is only one name given.
Yeah.
That name is Yeshua Messiah.
Yeah.
Now he's going to appear in order to deceive people, appear to acquire a name, but that name is title. And people are going to crown him with that name, or he's going to make people believe that that name is authentic name of Messiah. So in that Matthew 24, he's saying that they're going to come in different faces or different ways. And that is through religion. Every religion appears to have their own Messiah they're expecting or they're waiting for.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be a name that all the religions are going to accept.
Exactly. At the end of the day, there'll be one name, and that is zeroing into Revelation chapter 13.
Yeah.
And Revelation 14, where they are going to worship a specific one, the false prophet, and the beast.
Yeah.
Bowing, thinking that, oh yeah, they have arrived. That is the end result of Satan's deception in that Revelation chapter 13 and 14.
And the preparations are very, very much in the
preparation is on top gear.
Yeah.
The preparation for the worship of the beast.
Yeah.
Or in fact, Satan, because at the end of the day, we are told that that beast is Satan's action or activity. he provided the world that beast. The beast will be bowed to and set and receiving reverence or worship via the activities of the beast. So everything is on top gear to make sure that, in fact, they are working hard to quicken the coming of the.
Well, they know that their time is running out.
The time is, in fact, the time has already run out against those who are not even listening now.
Yeah.
I wonder, because some people want to listen and hear in haste when the trouble ensues, when the trouble, falls on the earth. And, well, some will escape, but many will not escape. Because the foundation was not laid, and they are right and they are left, they don't know. Bible is talking about the fall of the great Babylon. Babylon hasn't fallen to destruction, but in these latter days, Yahweh is going to visit Babylon to fall to destruction.
Yeah, Babylon's a system.
It's a system, the system that rule and control this world.
Yeah.
And it has capital. That is not the topic of today. We leave it for some.
Yeah. But I mean, Yeshua's coming as a judge and dispenser of justice.
Exactly.
And we've got to remember that he's coming and for our salvation. That's what he's coming for.
Exactly. And that is why he had his name. He took that name.
Yeah.
Yeshua. Yahweh is our salvation. Yahweh saves.
Yeah.
So he is coming in the name of the Father. Say, I came in the name of my Father.
And you didn't accept me.
He did not accept me. So the one that came in his own name is the one that are going to accept.
Yeah.
Yeshua was very clear in what is going to fall out in this latter day. It's already falling out. It's already everywhere. The plot of Satan is written everywhere. So it's a question of hearing and believing, receiving that, and running away with the truth. Now let's move to chapter 11 quickly. We will just quickly look at it and summarize from there. Now, it's all about the covenant. Yahweh is going to dwell on the covenant, but because once we break the covenant, everything is finished. Somebody will not understand, somebody will not know, somebody will not. That is the basis from where, is the standpoint, is the stepping stone, is what the covenant is, what we should have in our hands and love to use for our guide every day. The Spirit in it helping us to continue to follow Yeshua. Now let's move on from verse 1. Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 1. I read. Yahweh gave another message to Jeremiah. He said, remind the people of Judah and Jerusalem about the terms of my covenant with them. Remind them. Say to them, this is what Yahweh, the Yah of Israel, says. Cursed is anyone who does not obey the terms of my covenant. This has been the issue. When they were given the covenant, remember Exodus chapter 19, where he asked Moses, prepare Israel. After 3 days, they should come and hear from him the content, the terms of the covenant. And in chapter 20, we begin to read how Yahweh decreed, how Yahweh, released, spoke the covenant to their ears, the terms of the covenant. And that type of the covenant is the 10 Commandments. That is the summary of Torah, the law that was given to them. Is the summary of the whole covenant. Now, on. In Deuteronomy chapter 6, we read that is Shammai. Say, hear, O Israel. Now, Yahweh identified himself that he is one Yahweh of Israel, and that they should embrace him, follow him, do all that he commands. And all that he commands, they should internalize it in their heart and as well teach their children from generation to generation. So where is this instruction? Where has this instruction gone to? Now, Israelites in the diaspora, today. You ask them, they laugh at you, they mock you, they say all manner of things. They tell you law has been cancelled. How did he cancel the law? And yet he is commenting about the covenant. He is warning about defiling the covenant. He's warning about rejecting the covenant. That the end of that rejection will be death, will be destruction, massive destruction. Say to them, this is what Yahweh, Yah of Israel says, cursed is anyone who does not obey the terms of my covenant. For I said to your ancestors when I brought them out of the iron smelting furnace of Egypt, if you obey me and do whatever I command you, then you will be my people and I will be your Yahweh. I said this so I could keep my promise to your ancestors to give you a land flowing with milk and honey, the land you live in today. That was when they were in that land. That was when they had not broken the law. In fact, this was in the wilderness. Exodus 19, Exodus 20, up to Exodus 24 relates to these commandments and the direction that they should keep it so that they will live safely in the land. When they get into the land of Canaan, they will live peaceably with one another. They will possess the place. They will live in it from generation to generation, and Yahweh will be their Yahweh. Yahweh will be their Almighty. Yahweh will be their guide, their protection, their safety, their defense. They should not sign any part, any alliance with any nation. That was the command. Because if they do that, one way or the other, they will be corrupted with those. In fact, anything that has to do with aligning or joining with other nations, Yahweh says no. Not even Egypt. Don't go back to Egypt. Don't return to Egypt. He warned them. He wanted them to live and learn his ways, his covenant ways, so that they can go into the nations and teach them and bring them back and reintegrate man to him, reconcile man. Israelites were to reconcile humanity with Yahweh, but they rejected that. So Yahshua came to do the reconciliation. Yahshua came to teach them, to which we are part of that teaching and knowledge. Now he came to give us the instruction, as it were, and to guide us by his spirit so that we cue in and remain until he returns. So when he comes back, all those who paid attention and listened, followed him, they now will be restored back to the land. Now in that land, the covenant also will be renewed again with them. And Isaiah chapter 2 is clear about this. The covenant will be renewed and he will use it to govern Israel as well as the entire earth. Then he will send them out into the world to do what? To educate the world, to teach the world. So that's, reconciliation that Israelites were not able to achieve. When Yahshua returns, he will use them to achieve it. But it will be tough, it will be terrible, it will be, people will fall. Many will not make it because of rebellion, because of breaking the covenant, because of going backwards. Now, verse 5, I said this so I could keep my promise to your ancestors to give you a land flowing with milk and honey, the land you live in today. Then I replied, Amen, Yahweh, may it be so. Then Yahweh said, broadcast this message in the streets of Jerusalem. Today, the broadcast is not only in Jerusalem. In fact, that was then. But even now, the broadcast ought to be going on. Wherever we are all over the world, we that have heard this news, this information, Our fathers failed to live by it. We have to get hold of it, continue to broadcast it. And Yeshua said, this is going into the world, teaching them all I have taught you, all I command you. That is where the same message of old was given to us. To go in, this day we call it great, great commission, evangelism. Go in there and evangelize. And there has been argument whether we are to go or we are not to go. Some people are saying, oh, it is something of Israelites. Some people are saying, oh, well, it is for us, but it's for pastors, it's for teachers, it's for here. Jeremiah was speaking to Judah. Jeremiah was speaking to everybody that will receive this covenant. Announce it, teach it, provided you know, once you know the content of the covenant, teach it. It's not only the pastor, it's not only the priest, because Yahweh said, if you don't, Yeshua said, if you don't, the blood of those people who will die, who will perish, who you met, who you ought to teach, you didn't, will be required of you. The important thing is try to know the covenant, because we must know the covenant. It's not something that you say, oh, it's for pastor. Then what is the work of the pastor? The pastor is to clearly tell you what speak out. His message. Release the message to them. Tell them the message. Give them the message. The message of the covenant. The ways of the covenant. Let them hear it. Let them understand it. And let them apply themselves. Let them do it. Then let them teach that to others. Let others, it's just like wake others up. Have you heard about Yeshua? Have you heard about his kingdom? Have you heard about entering into the kingdom, returning to the kingdom? But we have to cleanse ourselves. We have done this, we have done this, we have done that. Let's wash ourselves, keep ourselves ready. Remember Matthew 25. He asked us to keep ourselves ready. He predicted, he gave that message by identifying 10 virgins. 5 were wise, 5 were foolish. So we must be wise. Cleanse yourself, prepare yourself, be ready. So that when he steps in, that will be it. Israel will begin to live their life the way he has commanded it to be. But if we continue to resist him, if we continue to say, that is not for me to do, it's for Yeshua, it's for his pastors, it's for his teachers, well, many will perish, including those in our household, including those in the family, including those in the community, including those in the nation. So we must do what he asks us to do. Go from town to town throughout the land and say, remember the ancient covenant, and do everything it requires. Do everything the covenant says. The covenant between Yahweh, the covenant is between Yahweh and Israel, his people. And somebody will be saying, but it's for the ancient Israel. Okay, it's for the people called Israel. It doesn't concern me. This is a different world altogether. Modern world doesn't concern us. So what concerns you? What are you preaching? What are you declaring? Who was giving the oracle? Who was giving the Torah? Who was giving the commandment, the instruction, the law, the covenant? It's Israel. So listen to what is coming from the mouth of Israelites. Listen to what is coming from the child of Yahweh, because they are the called, they are the chosen, they are the messengers of Yahweh. They are called to reconcile, the world with Yahweh. They are the people bringing the people, humanity, to Yahweh. But I tell you that this message mainly is for the Israelites. Speak to a fellow Israelite. But now, do you know who is an Israelite? We don't know. Everybody is in Gentile world. So all you do is keep on speaking as the Spirit directs you, as the Holy Spirit guides you. Continue to speak, continue to, because he knows those who are his people. And he knows how to move to his people, go close to his people. He knows. In Acts of Apostles, we see, or we read places, at times, the evangels, at times, the disciples, the apostles, they'll be moving or heading somewhere. The Spirit will say, no, don't go that side. Come this side. Move to this side. So it's the Spirit that leads. Let's listen to the Spirit as we preach. And whatever subject matter you are going to speak to somebody or topic you are going to speak to somebody, understand it very well. If you don't understand, ask brother, ask sister who understands. Or ask your pastor or your teacher who understands. That is how it is done. That's what Yahweh is telling us here. Verse 7. For I solemnly warned your ancestors when I brought them out of Egypt. Obey me. I have repeated this warning over and over to this day, but your ancestors did not listen or even pay attention. Instead, they stubbornly followed their own evil desires, and because they refused to obey, I brought upon them all the curses described in this covenant. Is it not why the world has decayed today? This message has been going on and on and on from ancient days of Israelites till today, yet they're not listening even this time around. And that's why everywhere has been corrupted. Said the whole earth has been corrupted. The whole earth has gone into decay. The whole earth is in trouble. The head is sick. Everywhere of the body is sick. And what remains is the judgment, the powerful judgment that awaits this world. Woe betide somebody who is not ready. Woe betide somebody who is making jest or mockery of this commandment. Said curse is following them, and they're going to be destroyed in the process. Why? Because they have broken the everlasting covenant. Isaiah 24, verses 5 and 6 said the reason the earth is going to be destroyed, many is going to be wiped out, is because the everlasting covenant has been destroyed. The same thing Jeremiah is saying here. Verse 10. They have returned to sins of their ancestors. They have refused to listen to me and are worshiping the other gods, other mighty ones, the Baals of the Gentiles, the lords of the Gentiles. That is what Israelites are doing today. Israel and Judah have both broken the covenant I made with their ancestors. Referring to this age, they have broken the ancestral covenant. The covenant remains. People say it's old, it's archaic, it's been removed. Said it is still in existence till tomorrow, till Yeshua returns. And Yeshua is going to use it to rule the world when he comes back. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 1 to 4 gave us clearly, and Micah, so many, in fact, book of Revelation, Jeremiah chapter 31 to 33 spoke about this. In fact, Jeremiah 30, Jeremiah 31, 32, 33, talked about restoration and the new covenant. Ezekiel also dwelt on the new covenant. Ezekiel chapter 36, talk about the new covenant, whereby the Spirit is going to be given to us. And Yeshua has come and he's done that. And he's going to do that by renewing, our spirit when he returns, which is powerful spirit. Therefore, this is what Yahweh says. I am going to bring calamity upon them, and they will not escape, though they beg for mercy. I will not listen to their cities, so to their cries. Sorry. Though they beg for mercy, I will not listen to their cries. Then the people of Judah and Jerusalem will pray for their idols and burn incense before them, but the idols will not save them when disaster strikes. Look now, behold, look now, people of Judah, you have as many gods as you have towns. You have as many altars of shame, altars for burning incense to your God, Baal, as there are streets in Jerusalem. Pray no more for these people. Jeremiah, do not weep or pray for them, for I will not listen to them when they cry out to me in distress. Time will come. Time is coming when Israelites will begin to cry to Yahweh to send the Messiah that he brought or he sent earlier time. They rejected. He said, if they fail massively, in fact, the world will be wiped out, because that means he will not return. But they will cry the cry. They will pray. Matthew 23, 38 and 39 told us they will cry. They will pray. Say, help us with that we are finished. Yahweh, send our Messiah to return, to come back, to deliver us. We've entered into the hands of destruction. You said it. All you said is coming true. Deliver us. Here, got a point where Yahweh says to Jeremiah, do not pray for these people again, because the time of their destruction has come. The time for them to be exiled, to be scattered into the land of Babylon has come. And Jeremiah thought it was a joke. In subsequent chapters, we are going to see where Jeremiah suddenly woke up and say, Yahweh, what you said is true. Destroy these people, because they are terrible. For how long will Yahweh cry and beg us to listen, to pay attention? Most times we think we are standing. Every day we must continue to examine ourselves, whether we are following the covenant instructions, whether we are following what he commands us to do, because the days of human beings are numbered. This age, the time and the existence of the wicked are numbered. Yahweh will soon judge the earth. What right do my beloved people have to come to my temple when they have done so many immoral things? Can their vows and sacrifices prevent their destruction? They actually rejoice in doing evil. At that time, the temple was standing there in Jerusalem. The Baal was existing side by side at the altar of Yahweh. And Yahweh said, what is the need keeping the temple? When you are syncretizing, when you are carrying other idols, other images, when they were carrying altar of Baal, altar of the Lord, in his temple, bowing, worshiping them, and at the same time turning to Yahweh to worship Yahweh. He said, no. That is abomination. Ezekiel chapter 8 says it's abomination. Should not do that. And Yeshua, when Yeshua came, he said, this temple must fall. In 3 days, he would bring it down, he destroy it. Then he told us that we are going to be the temple, our bodies. He is going to live. How? His spirit going to dwell in us. All we do is to make sure, as we examine ourselves daily, we ask ourselves, do I have the spirit? Has he given me his spirit? Is his spirit indwelling in me? Because once the spirit comes in and indwells in you, you become his temple. Or else you are not. We must be his temple. Wherever you go to worship, whether it's in the building, whatever, however it is made, auditorium built in one wonderful way, and all that, if you as individual does not make yourself ready for him to come in and dwell, as he said in John chapter 14, verse 21, 22, up to 23 or 24, that he and the Father will come into us and dwell. So we are the dwelling place of Yahweh. It's not that temple, or it's not that building block. It's not that place where you, no. He said that is something that was existing in the ancient days. At the coming of Yeshua, we becomes the temple. And Yeshua said, it's not a question of Jerusalem. It's not a question of the temple in there. It's not a question of any particular building or question of any particular site. But whosoever will worship him in spirit and in truth. That is the requirement now. To follow him, to worship him in spirit and in truth. We become the temple. So we must live in his truth. Follow him in his truth. And our staff of office is the covenant book. Today it is called Bible. How much of the Bible do you know? It's not a question of knowing the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. In fact, Torah alone, if you use all the scriptures, what are the scriptures? The Torah, the first 5 books, the prophets, and the writings. Those 3 is what is called the scriptures. And that's what Yeshua used to teach, according to the book of Luke. He told us that he taught them from Moses. That is the law, Torah, the instruction, the 5 books. Then the prophets, and what? The writings. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, he said he did not come to destroy the law, the Torah, and the prophets. So you can see that that is what was handy when he came into this world. That is from where he taught humanity. So it's not a question of knowing the... In fact, if you are guided and you know the Old Testament very well, the New Testament is clear. The New Testament comes clear if you understand the Old Testament vividly. So know the truth, and the truth will set you free. The covenant way is the truth. Is the way of entering into the kingdom via Yeshua the Messiah, who is the Word, the very mediator of the covenant, particularly the new covenant. I, Yahweh, once called them a thriving olive tree, that is Israel, beautiful to see and full of good fruit. That was when they were listening, when they were hearing. In the days of Joshua, they were hearing, they were listening. But after then, it was wishy-washy. They would begin to dance up and down. Walk to the left, walk to the right, which Yahweh doesn't like. But now I have sent the fury of their enemies to burn them with fire, leaving them charred and broken. I, Yahweh of heaven's armies, who planted this olive tree, Israel, have ordered it destroyed. For the people of Israel and Judah have done evil, arousing my anger by burning incense to Baal. Up to today, incense are burned to Baal. Prayers are offered to Baal. When the Bible talks about incense, it's talking about prayers. Who do you offer? You see, you have to identify whom you worship. That's where we began. If you don't know Yahweh, who do you offer your prayers to? Who do you approach? Who do you praise? Who do you thank? Who do you bow to? Verse 18. Now they plan to destroy Jeremiah. Yahweh here gave him a hint about the plot. Then Yahweh told me about the plot. Jeremiah is confirming that Yahweh told him about the plot, how they want to destroy him. Yahweh told me about the plots my enemies were making against me. I was like a lamb being led to the slaughter. I had no idea that they were planning to kill me. Let's destroy this man and all his ways. They said, let's cut him down, so his name will be forgotten forever. That's the plot of Judah against Jeremiah. That's what is happening today. Every child of Yahweh stands at risk, particularly if you are a pastor, you're a teacher, you are, whether a shepherd, prophet, whatever Yahweh appoints to call you, every child of Yahweh is at risk. Because they do not see eye to eye. They do not see, they do not see you with heart of love. At times they appear to be loving, at times they appear to look nice, but be careful. Scripture did identify that all those that call upon the name of Yahweh, that risk. Yes. Yeshua said, because you preach his name, because you profess his name, they will go after you. Yes. We saw that in Acts of Apostles, chapter 4. They warned the apostles, never mention the name of this man again. So his name has been troublesome. In these latter days, do you know they will chase children of Yahweh for calling the name of Yahweh, for praying in the name of Yeshua? They will chase them, they will pursue them, they will attack them. That will be the time Yeshua will be returning to deal with the situation, to save Israel. Because he said, if he will not do so, no elect will be spared. They will destroy all the children of Israel. But then he knows where we are, he knows who we are, he knows how to defend us. But be prayerful. I'm telling you, prayer is the answer. As you pray, the angels are available 24 hours. That is every day. You cannot miss a particular line of prayer for your safety of your family. Continue. Don't relent, because they're not happy that you preach the name of who is the mastermind of all that. Satan is the author. Satan is the one delegating them. Satan is the one plotting and showing them what to do, how to do what they will do. Most of them are doing what they're doing because they are in the service of Satan. They don't know what they're doing. They are just doing what the bidding of the leaders that Satan is directly using, to cause harm to the children of Yahweh. Let me take 20 again. Said, "Oh Yahweh of heaven's armies, you make righteous judgments and you examine the deepest thoughts and secrets. Let me see your vengeance against them, for I have committed my cause to you." Yeah, Jeremiah seems to be praying against his people. Yahweh has told Jeremiah the plot against him, the plot of Judah against him, the plot of those that do not want to hear the name of Yahweh and his covenant. And Jeremiah, it was overwhelming to him. He said, Yahweh, deal with them. Yahweh, do not allow them. Don't allow them to get at me. Kill them. Destroy them. What is the need of them living? They don't want to hear your word. They don't want to. What is this hula bula? Handle them. You know how to deal with them. Now, Yahweh is going to reply Jeremiah, verse 21. This is what Yahweh says about the men of Anatoth, the very kindred where Jeremiah came out from, that plot to kill him, his own even immediate family, who wanted me dead. They had said, we will kill you if you do not stop prophesying in Yahweh's name. Have you heard it? It's not only here. Virtually all the scriptures, that is what you hear. Today, that is what they tell you out there. They don't want to listen to you. They hate you, merely mentioning the name of Yahweh. To mention the name of Yahweh, the name of Yeshua, aches their ears, pricks them, makes them mad. That is what is going on. That's what is going on. It's been happening. It didn't begin today. So this is what Yahweh of heaven's army says about them. They have been waiting in ambushment to destroy the people of Yahweh because they call the name of Yahweh. Now look at what Yahweh said concerning those who make all this plan, who pursue the children of Yahweh, and who don't want the name of Yahweh to be mentioned. Listen to what Yahweh says. I will punish them. Their young men will die in battle, and their boys and girls will starve to death. Not one of these plotters from Anatoth will survive, for I will bring disaster upon them when the time of punishment comes. This is not just prediction. This is not just Jeremiah speaking from the standpoint of what happened in Judah about his people in Anatoth, or how at the end of the day they paid. At the end of the day, they paid the price quite all right. They paid the price. Yahweh did what he said here is what he did. He destroyed them. Their boys, their girls, their land was devastated. In fact, majority by far were destroyed, and the remnants were sent to Babylon. It was in Babylon. Within 70 years, they breeded because children of Israel, they born like no man business, like sand. As sand will replicate itself and fill the boundaries of waters and seas. That's how they reproduce. In the Gentile world today, the same thing happened, because after finally 70 AD, Israelites were scattered all over the world. They begin to reproduce, replicate everywhere. The world today is filled with Israel, yeah. But Yahweh hide them. Yahweh hide them. And in these latter days, you can see them coming up. They're coming up. They're coming up. Time will come when you'll be everywhere you hear it will be the people of Yahweh. They'll be calling the name, but some will be calling the name of Yahweh in vain, because they are not doing what the covenant says. So everything they'll be doing will be in vain, and they will be cut up. They will be destroyed. Because Yahweh is not just calling the name of Yahweh or worshiping. You must be doing what the covenant said. And finally, those who will not commit themselves to the covenant will be wiped away. Yahweh said they will not be spared. One, they hate you. In fact, they hate Yahweh. They hate Yeshua, the Messiah that is coming to save them. They hate you because you're a preacher of Yahweh, preacher of his word, of the covenant. And they hate the nation of Israel. So they're going to be swept away. Yahweh cannot engage them. They cannot be family of Yahweh when they are not listening to the assignments or carrier of the message of the covenant. We will stop here today, and by his grace, we'll continue from chapter 12 next week. I decided we take it verse by verse so that, at the end of the day, we understand the prophet, what he wrote concerning our ancient fathers, what he wrote concerning us today, because it's typological. It has happened before, it's been happening, and it's going to happen in a larger scale in these latter days. Any query, observation, comments before we wrap it up from here?
Just one comment.
Yeah.
To go back to verse 19. I was like a lamb being led to the slaughter. I had no idea that they were planning to kill me. Let's destroy this man, all his words, they said. Let's cut him down so his name will be forgotten forever. That's a depiction of Yeshua in the time when he would come. I was led like a lamb led to slaughter. He did know what was coming eventually.
Yes.
Then he was cut down, so his name will be forgotten forever. But he was never forgotten. He's never been forgotten.
Exactly. The master himself, because these people, they don't spare anybody.
No.
The high priests, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and all the like, they don't spare anybody.
Yeah.
Yeshua being the chief. Remember, it began with, when you come to the new covenant era now, you look at the old covenant era spoke so much in that, message, referred to the prophets, the pastors of the ancients that we are preaching to them. That was what really happened. Jeremiah suffered it. Ezekiel, Isaiah suffered it. In fact, virtually all the prophets, in one way or the other, they suffered it. And you see, Yeshua in the new era, he is the head. He was the preacher. He was the one instructing.
Yeah.
And he handed the whole thing to the disciples, the apostles, to go forward into the world, to bring the Israelites back, to teach them, to tell them, and all that. But they hated him. They hated him to the point that what was described for Jeremiah applied to Yeshua.
Yeah.
In fact, it's Yahweh. It's all about Yahweh. In as much as you preach Yahweh, the person is a target. But at the end of the day, that is not the end of the whole show. That is the beginning of even life. Because
A foreshadow.
that is it. Before you know it, Yeshua will return, and the life of his servants, the life of the faithful will begin.
Yeah.
And those who kill them will be destroyed, and they will never exist again. That is the biblical setting for us, and we should be rejoicing, because at times when we hear about this death, yes, it's the body, it could be painful, it could going through the trauma, it could be terrifying, but then Yeshua said, don't fear those who will kill the flesh, who will kill the body, but they cannot destroy the soul.
Yeah.
But fear him, Yahweh himself, who destroys
Body and soul.
the soul. I mean, the body, the soul, and even the destroyer himself.
Yeah.
And throws them into the furnace of fire, into hell, into Gehenna, and they will be destroyed completely. So we should not be worried. We should not be. All we do is to ask for grace every day, ask for strength, ask for empowerment. Let our faith continue to mount up, so that we cannot be cajoled or somebody making us to be afraid. I have had people arguing violently, with threats against people who preach to them to deviate from their Jesus to Yeshua and all that. So they have been threatening, and but it's neither here nor there, because Yeshua said that will happen. They will threaten you, they will cajole you, they will do all manner of things. Oh, preach the word, move on. If they hear, fine. If they don't hear, well, they will meet their Waterloo sooner or later. All right. Any other observation, comments, query? Okay, we end it here. May Abba Yahweh bless you. May he open our eyes more and more and give us greater knowledge and empower us to face what is coming. Brethren, there is something that is coming. May Yeshua be there for us 24 hours to lead us, to guide us, even as he has given us his spirit. May the Holy Spirit of Yahweh continue to indwell in us, and may our Father power us with his spirit to wake us up, because you may be awake and yet you are sleeping. May that not be our portion. May we be awake spiritually, and may we be active, working for him. Sharing the covenant message until Yeshua returns. May that be our portion in Yeshua's name. Hallelujah.